Hello, good day. This is Justin Pineda, and for this session, we'll be talking about smartphone architecture and call processing. So, this is important when we're talking about mobile security because we need to understand the um, formation or the components of your mobile device, the hardware components, as well as the software components. So the topics to cover here would be two. The first one would be the smartphone architecture, which includes the hardware, architecture, communication design, and then the user application execution, and then some of the important peripheral devices and the processors. And then the second topic is about call processing. Okay, so to explain the process of call transfer, 4G, the CAPS, control and user plane separation, and 5G. All right, so let's go to the smartphone architecture, which the contents came from Bailu 2019. Um, so here, um, so for a smartphone hardware architecture, it's also called a system on a chip architecture because it has three primary components, similar to a computer. So we have a processor, but two processors here. We have the application processor, which executes the user application software with instructions from the middleware and the operating system. So this is what we use for the apps, browsing of the apps. And then we have the baseband or modem processor with its own operating system, components performing the transmission or radio transmission and reception of audio, video, and data. And then, of course, the I/O or the we call it peripheral devices for the user interface. All right, so let's look at the standard architecture for smartphone. So you have your cellular baseband on your left. Okay, so this is where um, we have an interface with the SIM card. We insert it, and it's responsible for your voice, SMS, so transmission of communication here, and then you have your application processor on your right. So with peripherals such as your LCD screen to see the the apps that you're using, and at the same time your SD card, so you can have an external memory to save your applications or other files. And then you have your cellular RF transceiver. Of course, this is for the cellular baseband. And on your right would be the power supply. Okay, connected. So all of these components will require power to work. And then below you can see the um, other peripherals like the Bluetooth, WLAN, and GPS. These are now this is very like a um, standard setup. So you need to have your Bluetooth, wireless LAN, and your GPS. So to facilitate transmission of data, connectivity to the internet, and identifying your location. So for smartphone communication, similar to the the um, older models, older versions of the phone, we need a receiver and a transmission. So it's depicted with RX for receiver. Now the RX hardware, which is part of the baseband processor, receives the incoming signals and generates interrupts for the radio interface in the OS. So these are for your radio interface and your OS software, okay, which runs on a baseband or a modem processor, which we discussed in the previous slide. And then we have a transmission, which is depicted by the TX. So the device drivers write the data to be transmitted in the memory, so or in the RAM from where the radio OS components collect them. So let's say for example the medium that we will be transmitting would be audio. It will come from the microphone. Okay, if it's an image or video, will be coming from the camera, or um, um, latitude and longitude, or the position from your GPS. And then we have your user application execution in a smartphone. No? So applications such as your audio, video codec and players, games, image processing, speech processing, internet browser, text editor, etc. So the applications which are graphics intensive are executed with the help of your GPU. So at times this would be the selling point of the phone. So when you go to the mall and you inquire about the features of the phone, most of the people will look at the brand, but for the more techy ones, they will try to look at the spec, like the processor, the GPU, memory, the storage, and for the camera, megapixels, and so on. And then we have the peripherals. So the peripherals are your I/O devices, okay, through which the end user interacts with the handset. So these are the typical peripheral devices, although this is not exhaustive. So you have your LCD, touchscreen, keyboard, camera, GPS, speaker, mic, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and your HDTV. Okay. At times, depending on the type, if you're a Samsung user, it may come up with a stylus or a pen, right? And then we go to processor. So when we talk about processors, okay, so it's used in a smartphone, it's used in a computing device in general, no? But these are different from the ones that we use in the PC. Okay, because the primary challenge would be the power consumption and performance. Of course, usually the for desktop computers, laptops, you have your very big batteries with you, or it's already plugged all most of the time, no? But uh, and it will support the performance of your processor. Like if it's an i7 and you put that in your mobile phone, of course it will drain the battery in a few minutes. So there's what we call the ARM, or the advanced RISC machines, no? So these processor designs are optimized for battery life versus the performance, and have a low area transistor count. So if you would notice, for mobile devices, this is also one of the things that you check in the specs, no? The type of processor, and we see ARM, the ARM designs. So for the ARM processor, this is what it looks like, no? So similar to actually to the computer, no? But the formation is different. The transistor count, um, and it's specifically designed for mobile phones. So you still have your debug interface, co-processor controller. You have your different cache, so instruction cache and data cache, and your memory management, okay, and the other interfaces. Okay. So there is a related exercise for this part of the module that we will be discussing on a separate um, video. All right. The second part would be call processing. So uh, the contents here came from Rosselman 2021 from Red Hat. Very interesting and useful um, uh, reading material for you to use. No? So let's start with call processing. So call processing talks about the ability to manage a connection when a device moves out of a cell tower's range. And this is very important to know because um, these are the building blocks. So these are the foundations. So understanding the mobile architecture will require us to understand call processing. And call processing involves how we transfer the calls, routing, and back-end processing work. So we will not um, go in very detail, but for us just to understand how the call transfer works. So the basics of call transfer, so to receive and transmit radio signals, but all other activity was handled by an independent device called a base station controller. So the the support or the support of a service provider will depend again on the base station, the number of base stations. So even if you move from one place to another, okay, so you will still get a chance to talk to your to the other party, no, because of the number of base station available base station controllers. Now these devices had the smarts required to negotiate and monitor caller access to and among the network. And these controller devices knew all the base stations in the network. Okay, so it's always the number of base stations that is considered the key in identifying the performance, no, and supporting communications. And then let's go to 4G LTE technology. So controlling call and user activity moved directly onto the base station with the release of 4G LTE technology. A base station became aware of the other base stations in the vicinity. So that's what happens. So when you move, it transfers to another base station. So it effectively put the handoff activity under the control of the base station. So this is an example, no? Depicting that if you're in a car and you are moving, of course, there are here in this example you have two base stations. So you're transitioning from base station A going to base station B. So and that's fine. The communication will still continue. Now, another important concept is the CAPS, or understanding the control and user plane separation. And this is a common way of segregating different functions. You put it in a different planes. Um, so, connecting to the carrier network's backend gives the caller access to the internet. Now, connecting to the backend facilitates monitoring a customer's user behavior, which in turn allows the carrier to bill the customer according to the monitored usage. So that's why there are different planes. So there's a user plane, okay, which encompasses user behavior around the call, such as the signal handoff activity. Now, for the control plane functionality, it's about the operational specifics of the call. So, example, giving your phone an IP address, recording the time and place, right? So, more on the back end stuff, the admin stuff will be done by the control plane functionality, recording the time and place of your location as you travel and keeping track of the amount of data you're using. Okay? So, the user plane and control plane function are separated, okay, in design. Okay, and the location also. The user plane activity is executed as close to the user as possible, while the control plane behavior is executed back at central servers on the core network. So these are the locations now where you will find these planes. Now the handoff behavior is handled in the user plane, right? So from changing from one station to another, while viewing your account activity on your carrier's website is what's reported from the control plane. So to demonstrate, this is what it looks like. So you have your control and user plane, right? So the user plane, okay, this is where you have an interface with the different mobile towers, and then for the control plane, there is an access to the, the core network. Now, let's put 5G, into the mix, because this is the trend now. This is the technology. So 5G is the latest generation of technology on the cellular landscape. The motivating force, of course, is it's always the speed and the quality of files that we are getting. No? So we have faster rates, reduced latency for communication, and better support for a high density of IoT devices in a physical location. No? So if you would notice now, you can choose so like for example in the last bullet, more data at lower latency translates into 4K Ultra HD movies on your phone. Okay, high definition. Higher fidelity in audio, broadcasting, and fast access to data that changes in millisecond increments. Yeah, so it's very evident now. You can watch, and actually you can choose the type of um, quality in your video and in your audio, but it's really different because speed allows you to give more quality also. Okay. So here is the example. So you of different people using 5G, have your radio signals, okay, and all communicating to the transmission unit. 5G beamforming enables wireless antennas to focus connections more directly towards the mobile devices. That's another important um, important thing that we need to emphasize. No? So you have a transmission tower unit that implements beamforming that has multiple radiating elements transmitting the same signal to a caller at an identical wavelength and phase in a reinforced manner. So meaning the the scope of access would be bigger and larger for more users. It can accommodate more users from more locations, um, longer and farther locations, no? Right? That's why here the last emphasis here is that if you look at 5G from an architectural perspective, is that it will broaden the scope of cellular activity. Okay, and particularly as 5G technology moves beyond your cell phones and mobile tablets. So it will be, an um, it will provide more um, mileage, no, and more opportunities, not only for cellular activity. So there, no? So there's also another related exercise here that you need to do, and yeah, regarding call processing. Okay, so yeah, that wraps up the two topics that we have. So for further reading, these are the references that can be supplemental in your study. All right. So again, this is the first module, smartphone architecture and call processing. Thank you.